Nowadays, there are countless lighting fixture models that feature different shapes, sizes, and materials. For this project, I'm going to replace a hanging fixture in a kitchen nook. The tools you'll need are a ladder, a screwdriver, a voltage tester, and some support boxes. Before you do anything, make sure you cut off the circuit breaker to the area that you're working in. So my circuit is hot right now, so I need to take care of that. I'm going to go out to the main panel and throw the breaker, and if I come back and the light's off, then we are good to go. I'm at the electrical panel. I'm checking my chart. I want to turn off the kitchen lights. Here they are here. I just simply turn the breaker off and get back to work. Okay, the light's off. I'll turn off the switch and let's get back to it. So when I open it up, I'm going to use a voltage tester just to make sure that none of the leads up there are hot and there's no electricity. You never know how some of these houses are wired, so it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm going to get a ladder and I'm going to support this fixture so we can start working. Now I'm going to position it a little offset so when this is sitting on top of the box, I can work in my area easily. So I'm going to put the ladder, let's say about here. I've got a box here that's just about the right size and it should work fine. Okay, it's stable, but I still need to be careful that I don't knock it off. All right, I've got my screwdriver. I'm gonna loosen this flange so it'll drop down and it will expose my wires. These are old screws and they have a really thin slot. Okay, so I'm gonna drop this down. I'm unscrewing these. Most likely won't need these, but I'm setting them aside just in case. So after I've got the screws removed, I gently kind of just peek in there and see what the situation is. Everything looks normal. The ground wire isn't connected. However, this is my hot, the black, the white is the neutral, and these are my wire nuts. They're hooked up, and I'm just going to check them with the voltage tester and make sure we don't have any electricity still there. So I'm going to stick it in here. If this light lights up, that means I've got current flowing through it. It was kind of hard to tell at first because some of these light bulbs weren't even working well. And you can see there's no voltage present, so I'm safe. All right, no electricity, we're good to go. I'm just going to simply remove the wire nuts and disconnect this flange completely. We're all set. I can remove the old chandelier. So the box I was using is actually my new fixture. So I'm going to take all the parts out, just set them down here. Now this fixture was just bought online and it's a nice fixture that we picked out that'll make this nook look more modern. So these are our parts for our new chandelier. This is the top flange. Remember when we took the old one off? This is what goes up against the ceiling. The wire is going to come down through here, and instead of a chain system, we have these pole rods. And we need to figure out how low we want the chandelier to be. So the chandelier goes like this, the top piece goes like this, and the rods go from here to where my pinky is. That's the mechanical part of it. Now let's talk about the electrical part. We've got to get back up there, and we've got to replace their mounting plate with our new mounting plate. Sometimes the bolts line up and you're lucky, but in our case, we have a wider spread here. So these bolts go through these holes, and that's what holds it up there. So let's go back up there and let's work on this piece and get it done. Now, if you'll notice here, I've got silver wires here. That's aluminum. Older houses use this system. They're thicker and they're silver. So our new chandelier comes with copper wires, and here we have aluminum wires. So we need a special connector, and that's why we have these Alumicon connectors. Chances are you're just going to be going copper to copper, so you can use whatever wire nuts came with your new light fixture. These are special connectors that I had to buy separately. Most hardware stores will have them. You'll always get your own wire nuts in your new fixture, but in this case we can't use them. So here's my connector here. This is structurally attached to wood above so it can hold heavy loads. I could probably hang from this. So I've got to take this off and I got to put my new connector on. So let's go. So sometimes we get frustrated because you got a lot of paint in there. This is loose enough I can get it with my fingernail. You can also use a razor knife to clean that out. What happens is you get 20 years of people repainting things and you can get a buildup. And it will hinder your progress. Notice how I keep touching these wires. That's why you always got to make sure that this circuit is dead. Don't be in a rush or try to be the guy that can do it without it. I've been that guy, and it's not fun. You learn after a few times. Luckily, this gets finger loose pretty quick. I want to mention one more thing. Let me get this nut out of here. It's actually a screw. With this old style wiring, I just have two connectors. Most modern wiring is Romex, they call it. It comes with two connectors with a ground in between, so it actually has three conductors. The ground is just a copper wire. In the Romex, it's just a bare wire. It doesn't have black or white insulation. This metal box is going to be our grounding, so we'll connect our ground from our light directly to this. So this orients this way. Usually there's a lot of different slots to choose from. Most modern fixtures are going to come with a plate like this. It's a universal adapter, so you have many choices to lock into our mounting box. So let's see what we need here. It adapts to a variety of different sizes, so it's universal. I'm just feeding these screws back into the same holes that we took the old ones out. I'm getting them finger tight, and since I'm kind of a perfectionist, I always like to line bolts up so they're even somehow. So that's at an angle. I'm lining up like this. That way it's square with the room. And these two little nuts will look like it was designed to fit perfectly with the room. If you get it all up there and you find that you can't get it oriented the right way, it doesn't make any difference. It's just a visual thing. So I'm gonna get these nice and snug. Okay, so we've got that up. That's gonna match our mounting. We've gotta make our connections. So before we do that, let's go back down here. With chains or this type, we have a fixed rod. You need to determine how low you want it. A lot of times in a dining room or a nook, you want those down low. So you don't go to all this trouble to have a nice chandelier and just pop it up at the very top where nobody can see it and appreciate it. So we've already determined the height that we want to get. So what I've got here is my mount at the ceiling. I've got my rods I'm going to use to get it down to the proper height. Now I've got one extra one. So it's actually this one here, which actually has to go there. It has a special thread. And then these two. So I'll give you a quick show of how this goes. I'm just kind of putting this together. I'm going to thread the electrical supply through here as I go, but for right now, I'm just giving you a visual. So this is going to mount up to here. It's going to bring our chandelier to this height. And this is exactly what we want. So let's do that. I'll disassemble it and I'll feed my electrical supply back through it, one piece at a time. So I'm setting the fixture here, which is about where we want to be height-wise. It's going to be a little bit lower. That way I'll have all my pieces up top and we'll continue. So first I'm going to unassemble it, like I mentioned. This will let us feed the wire through a lot easier. It can be frustrating. You get it all put together and you go, okay, get that wire through, and all of a sudden you can't shove it through 3 feet of decorative rod. Okay, I've got everything I need. Going back up. Hopefully nothing will crash down on the ground. Okay. So I am getting my wire ready. Got a little wire tie here. I'm going to save it just in case I need it for something. You never know. So we're going to start at the bottom, which is here. We got to thread these 2 rods. Then it threads through here and then up so I can make this connection. So let's do it. So I have threads inside. These threads are going to screw onto the base right here. So I'm going to take the male side, thread the wires through. I'm going to hit this adapter here, and I might not get it through. I did get it through. It could hit the end of the adapter. In that case, I would just take this off, feed it through, and then slide this over. This is why you do it one thing at a time. Okay, so now I just pull this down. So I'm going to put it down here. I'm not going to tighten it yet. I'm just going to kind of get these in the right order because I want to have some wiggle room to make these connections. Right? So I'm taking the female thread here, matching up with the male thread, and threading it through. This just happened to have them on both sides. Okay, once again, I'm down where I need to tighten it up. And then I've got my last one, which is a male connector, and I've got female here. We feed this through. And there we go. It came out, and then once this is up there, these are our leads. You can already see how easy this is going to be now. So I get that up there. Okay. So what I'm going to do, these are already stripped and ready to go. I make black to black, white to white. Now remember, this is aluminum to copper, so we have a special connector for that. So this is stiff, this is flexible. I like to just kind of spin this around. Bring the flexible one, line up the tips. Don't do this where it's all the way down at the bottom or spin it around tightly like that. You want to start making that connection right at the tip. Otherwise, you may not make a connection at all. And once you got the light up and you're doing that, that's not the time to find out. The wire knot has spiral threading inside. And as you tighten it, it screws down tight onto your 2 connectors. And I'm screwing it on. Take the other connector, connect the white wire. Same technique. You just use your hands. You don't need pliers or anything like that. And don't keep spinning and spinning and spinning because you'll strip out what you're connecting. Okay, now our light will be grounded through this metal plate, which is also grounded to our box behind it. So we stuff everything up, line these holes up with these 2 screws here First we got to take these off. Our little caps, we're taking our little caps off. One final note, these are adjustable, so you got to get these to the right height. So when this is in place, there's just enough thread showing outside of this flange to put the cap on. So it looks like they've preset that at the factory, and this should work out fine. We carefully take our connectors, move them up into the box, like so. Line up our holes on our flange. Sometimes you get better results using your fingers as a guide. And like I said, they were preset at the factory. If they're too long, and this is typical, if they're too long, you tighten down this cap as far as it can go, and then you've got a gap there. So what you do is you take the screw and you screw it in further, just so you get the right amount hanging down for your cap. Now, if you notice, our old fixture was bigger. So this is kind of a more sleek design. So you can either touch this up with paint before we start this step, or you come back, mask it off, and paint it. We're going to come back, loosen it up, and do a nice paint job underneath. We've got it all tightened up, and it's very strong. This has a flexible part here too, because this could go on a slanted ceiling also. So this ball and socket joint here lets you make those kind of adjustments. So now we're cinching everything down for good. Making that tight, that tight. It's kind of fun. Reminds me of Tinker Toys. Tighten up. So at this point, I'm going to have to just kind of slide my ladder out of the way. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on this, so I'm still holding on to this. So I'm going to thread this up. Tighten it up. Okay, I'm down to my last piece. Now, since I'm going to do a lot of spinning. Okay, so at this point, I'm having trouble shoving this back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cap nuts off once more and draw all of that slack electrical supply cord up in to my mounting box above the ceiling. This metal fixture is conductive. So as long as this is grounded, my whole fixture will be grounded because all these connections are metal. And this is connected directly to our metal box up above. So I'm just screwing this down. These kind of things happen. Since I was working by myself, I wanted to get it connected below and work my way up. So now I'm making this final adjustment up here. I'm re-screwing in. So now my entire unit is rigid, screwed in tight, and it's ready to make my final connection. So all I do is take my slack and tuck it up there with my wire nuts, line up the holes, put my cap nuts back on. You'll notice we have these stickers here. They indicate the maximum wattage amount of your light fixture. So most homeowners are going to take these labels off, but you can always leave one maybe hidden just to remind you the maximum wattage of your light bulb. Now I'm going to install light bulbs. I like these bulbs because they are LEDs and they consume less electricity, but they're decorative and they've got this kind of retro look to them that I really like. It's a great combination of modern meets classic. Let's be careful not to knock our bulbs. So let's start over here at the far one. One last one to go. Then the moment of truth. I'm gonna leave the light switch off. I'm gonna go hit the breaker, come back, flip it on, and we should have light. All right, let's turn the power back on. Okay, good to go. Great, the breaker's back on. I'm gonna hit the switch and test this thing out. Wow, that really brightens everything up.